The past is a lie, and I'm gonna bury it. What's that from? Northern Exposure. Maurice got all hurt because Shelley said he never loved her. Shelley said that she never said that she loved him. She never said, I love you, Maurice. She said, no, I never said that. You're crazy. And so he took his tractor and he tore down the gazebo. So much for military burying. Anyway. Hi, welcome to my tube. My name is Marge. I'm a Hayok empath. I just like having these little talks on the way I feel about things. I had a nice conversation today. I don't really go into dispensaries a lot, and I looked at my medical card today, and it expires next month. And I think this is the first time I went in and I actually used it. No, I used it once before because I was trying to make change, and it didn't work. So I had anyway. Had a nice conversation with some nice guy. I can't remember the lady who owns this. I can't remember her name. I'll get it again next time. Because she said that I can bring my T-shirts in to sell. They have a corner. This is really cool. They have a corner in the shop, and you can sell T-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever kind of stuff. So I'm gonna bring some of my straight people like Rainbows 2 T-shirts in there and see if anybody. It's funny. She said that's a bumper sticker waiting to happen. I said that's what I was gonna initially do, because I thought about it when I was 9. And it was so funny because I didn't have one of my shirts on to show her today. I'm like, when is the last time I didn't have one of my shirts on? I wear them all the time. Dropping paper. Where is it? So she and a customer that came in, her name is Liz. We had a nice conversation. It was pretty cool. It was nice to be out and about a little bit. Hadn't left the house in a few days. About every 3 days I go into town because I start to get a little squirrely. What was I doing? I can't remember what I was doing. Anyway, that was pretty. It was just so cold. I just don't want to do anything. I'm a big baby when it comes to the frickin' fragility of it all. And I was thinking about it today. I was just talking to Mom before I started this talk about how there's so many people that are outside sleeping, trying to find warm places to crash and stuff like that, and once you get that chill in your bones, it's so hard to get rid of. Anyway, I let Mom decide what she wants to watch on TV. That's just something that she enjoys to do, and I just have it more for background. There's shows that, I like to be diverted from attention, of the world. So there's stuff that I like to listen to too. So I like to ask Mom, what do you want to watch? And we got a bunch of series on DVD, and we have a Roku or whatever, one of those things. And God, I can't believe how many crappy movies exist. Yeah. There's a lot of like they could have not made that one, and they could have probably skipped that one. And really, why would they even bother with that one? But lately what she's been wanting to watch is Northern Exposure. Pretty consistent. So that's what I've been putting in for her. I called today's talk Test Anxiety because there was an episode just on a little while ago that made me think about some stuff. And Chris was going to take a test to be a pilot's license. Now, that flying the plane, he had no problem with. You know, he could fly the plane. He could land the plane. You know, and then he went to take his test, and then he that's when things went awry. And I was thinking about that when I was a little girl, that I would fail tests a lot. And how does a child convey to an adult that whenever presented with so much stress, all of your thoughts go out of your mind, and get them to understand? And I'm one of those trauma kids. You know, people make fun of us. Oh, you got trauma. Oh, you get triggered. Yeah. A lot of us, you know, there's reasons why, you know. And yeah, my triggers are my own. But if I find some of yours, if I remind you with some of what, you know, because I can help people find triggers that they didn't know that they had. So if they want to play about, you know, talk so lightly about triggers, I could bring people's out. And then maybe they might have a little bit more empathy for people that have them. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? So, I was one of those trauma kids, and I disassociated a lot. I find out, you know, there's things that happen on this earth. There's ugliness and grossness that transpires on this planet that humans do. And the human spirit will not partake. It's just so too much. So bloop! They call it disassociated spirit. Your soul just goes right up out. You just look down and watch, because it's better to watch than experience it, man. So what I found as I've gotten older, and I put pieces of puzzles together and things like that, and the experiences that I've had in life, my own personal experiences that I found, I made a direct correlation between test anxiety and trauma. See, because when I was a little kid and they say, okay, you have to pass this test or you will be held back. You will not be able to get to advance with everyone else. You will be set aside, you know, all this. I could know the answers to questions. I could know stuff all day long. The test could be about stuff I knew about. I played, you know. But as soon as somebody put that extra weight to it, all the thoughts went out of my head. And it did it all the way through. When I was in the Air Force, I washed back like week 2 or week 3. I was really, really sick. I think I had pneumonia. And I didn't want to go to the doctor because I didn't want them to put me in the hospital because I didn't want to get washed back. And I ultimately got, Universe said, yeah, you're going to wash back anyway. So I washed back because I failed the test, and then I had to go to a class where they told me to do things like, imagine yourself on a beach. When I'm taking a test? Really? Because I could really go there. I wouldn't end up taking the test, but I'd have a really nice meditate state session, I'm sure. But, just stupid stuff. And, it made things really hard for me. All the way up until, like, adulthood. Now I don't take tests anymore. They just fix that. We'll solve that. But when I was in college back from 2002 to 2006, my biggest hang up, my biggest thing to keep me from holding me back from would be math, right? Because I love numbers, like numerology, stuff like that. And geometry, I excelled in pretty okay. Algebra, stuff like that, FOIL, things like that. You know, I was one of those people, I'd come up with the right answers, but the teacher would always, I would always get it wrong because I didn't do it the same way they did. And then I had a pre-algebra teacher that when class first started, he would talk about the consistency in which mathematics was, and that there's laws and things like that. I was like, finally, something consistent in my life. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say the very next week, that same teacher, Mr. Dworak, Dworak, he had some kind of speech thing. Sometimes it was hard for me to understand him. The very next week, he said, oh, here's some exceptions to those rules that we talked about last week. And I was like, it's not a constant. It's not. Okay, so it's just more bullshit. Great. So, I understand it's has to do a lot about with the teacher and stuff like that. And I had a teacher when I did my math credit at a junior college in Omaha, and it was tough, I think. That junior college, I feel like, was tougher than the actual degree program. I just am a slow typer, too. And, so I had a teacher, and her name was Tankum Samuels was her name. And she was from India. And I started out that I was really, like, I was scared because I was like, okay, we're going to have a language barrier here. You know, and I got to pass this class. But I was one of those, and a guy that I was actually in the Air Force with, like, he was in my shop. We took the class together. And so we'd meet and study together, and I'd always do, like, if she had off, you know, like where she came in earlier, you'd stay late for extra credit. I did everything I could. I think I ended up with like a B or something, like, or maybe it was just a pass or fail. Who knows? No, who knows? No, because I know it counted. Because anyway, I don't know. I had like my ritual that I would every day of a test before the test. I'd eat a Mars bar and drink this energy drink that didn't taste very good. But I did it after the first test and I passed. So then I made it put my intention on it that it was going to bring me some sort of luck or something. And I failed one of the math. She said in the beginning of class when she's given the rundown of like her expectations and the syllabus or all that stuff, you know, she even said, she's like, if you have to retake a test, I'm not going to give you the same test that you took. You're going to get a different test. Right? And so I was like, okay, all right, you know. And then freaking at one point, it was like, it was one of those before class or after class extra credit circumstances. And because I get worked up. Like, I get beads of sweat. I mean, I get physical, manifestations. I get physical symptoms from the anxiety. And I'm not even a sweater. I don't even sweat when I run and I exercise. There have been times that I did sweat, though. That water aerobics is no joke. You can work up a sweat in water. Anyway, I get so worked up, and she says, stop, can't, take it easy. You're like my son. She said I was like her son. And that, you know, programming makes it, succeed. And, oh, it puts a lot of pressure on people. And Sometimes pressure makes people lose their thoughts. You yell at people, you stress people out, they can't think. That's why it's really important. I know it sounds crazy, like during emergencies and catastrophic events and stuff like that. People are better off to keep their wits about them. Scream and freak out later, man. So, where was I? And I failed a test, and so I had to come in on an extra day, you know, on another day, and she's like, "Here, you'll be okay. You'll do fine." And I was like, "I don't know. I'll try. You know, I'll try." And so I went into the test because she just gave me she could give me the test, and then I had to go in the test center. It wasn't even in the class. It was supervised by somebody else. I hate when they freaking question my integrity and stuff like that, you know. This was back in 2005. Things are just so much worse now. So I went and opened my test and went to take the test. She gave me the same test. I failed. You know, every now and again, I mean, that's how I have gotten through life because God works through people. And sometimes we need an earth angel to help us just get through stuff. You know? Even if people are like, you know, financially set, they don't need money and stuff like that, sometimes they still might find themselves in a way where they need the kindness of a stranger. You know? That's happened here. A buddy of mine I know, he ran into some guys, some rich guys, you know, they like to come to New Mexico and, you know, play outlaw and all. It's just weird what people do, how they spend their resources. Anyway, and some guys found themselves with a flat tire, you know, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, and not one of them could change the tire, right? Big old fancy, you know, not one of them. And you know, my bumpkin buddy came bebopping along and offered them some assistance, and they all gave him cash. You know, they're all pulling out their wallets. You know, but you don't got no practical skills. It don't matter how much money you got. It's not going to do you no good. And watch, we're going to start seeing more people that are going to start refusing service to people just because they don't like them. It's already been happening. It's just going to be more. Until people start learning how to give more to themselves, so that we got the wave of withholding. The ultimate wave of collective bullshit is what I call it. So, got to see some. My buddy saw a young guy, kind of mentor him, try and kind of keep him guided towards the light. You know, stay away from that ego stuff. You know, all the stuff that you're doing for yourself. You know, for every 10 things that you do for yourself, do 1 thing for somebody else. You know, stuff like that. It's a karmic punch card. So I saw he and his girlfriend today, and we had a nice, pleasant conversation. And man, it's hard for kids, 18, 19 years, because things are different now, man. Things are a lot different now. The world is a much different place than it was in 1988, 1989 when I was a kid. I think maybe it's because like the seediness was so there, it was so much more discreet, and now I think it's just right there in front of everybody. I think just like the shadow, that's why I was like, the shadow parts of light. Liz is a Gemini. The gal I met today, I said, I like Gemini, they're full spectrum. And then, God, I can't remember her name. April 13th was her birthday, the lady that owns the flower shop. She's Aries too. I could never date an Aries. I dated, see, before I figured, this is my own theory. This is my own little theory. So, the closer I date to my sign, I might as well be fucking myself. proverbially speaking. I dated a Taurus, drove a Taurus, dated a Taurus, same time period. There is a lot of miles on both, I tell you what. I didn't put all the miles on both of them. But, and then a Pisces. And I won't ever date another Pisces or a Taurus again. I like people down on the chart, farther away, opposite than me. I like differences. I don't like... I get hours of myself all day long. Hours of myself all day long. I get plenty of myself. I really enjoy listening to other people and their stories and stuff like that. And then I like to relate too, though. So I guess that's where my stories come in, because I like to relate. Went to another pet food place today. Couldn't find it. Might have to order it online. Don't know. If anybody knows where to find this, let me know. Blissful Belly. I mix it with their other food. But tomorrow's Tuesday. Maybe Taos Tackle get it in. Tom at Taos Tackle get it in. I'll go by and see him. Haven't seen him in a while. I didn't want to. I had a gut feel. I just felt compelled. I was gonna go down and check the mail, and do something, like 2 other things. And when I left the store today, and I just was like, you know what? I need to get home. Because I had already been gone 2 hours, and that would have put me over like the 3-hour mark. So, anyway, all in all, today was a pretty good... It's just so freaking cold. We're not getting the weather. I noticed, like, because okay, so California... I wonder what Sam Geppy thinks about all the rain he's getting now. Sacramento's, like, freaking getting... I remember 1996... Though 1997, 96, 97, that time frame, it flooded. It flooded because my roommate was walking back from the bars in downtown Sacramento, and one night he just looked like a drowned rat. I was like, oh my god. Because like the light, there's no public transportation, you know, stuff like that, and it was all flooded. And he went wading through like 18 inches of water and stuff. But he was in the Army, so, I mean, he didn't care. It's no different than what he'd done before, you know. Or playing in the creek when you're a kid. They're just getting saturated. California's just getting soaked. And it's just... I saw a footage of a pass near Big Bear or something like that. And there's just a lot of snow, and it causes for a lot of problems because there's so many inexperienced drivers, and people even experienced drivers drive too fast for the conditions. It's that ego thing, you know. It's that ego thing. Sometimes I equate my ego with that internal clock, because I speak slowly, I move slowly, intentionally, and I do all these things slowly on purpose, because my internal clock, it's like it's going 100 miles a mile. It's always been like that ever since I was a little kid. And it helps to control my breath to help keep that internal clock, you know, just at a rate, or just help me move slow when my insides want to just I want to move quick in everything I do. So it's taken a lot of years of discipline and practice to slow down. I used to get yelled at a lot when I was a little girl. Slow down. I used, you know. But I see the risks in a lot of situations, so it's important. Like, I gotta go slow around all the dogs too, because they're all getting old, you know, and they I can't get them, if I move around too fast, they get too excited. And then, Tucker already, 2 years ago after we moved here, he was paralyzed for 3 days because he slipped in the kitchen. And so that's why it's like, okay, no more getting excited. So like, he sits on the outside of the kitchen and eats outside the kitchen, because I don't even really like him on the tile, because he anyway, I wonder why other people have and then it's like, I know people, I used to, those people in high school that just used to just pass everything, like they never had to study and they just like knew the stuff, Things are different now because I know how to slow myself down. So I wonder how things would be if I actually took a math class. Well, it also depends on the teacher too. I have no desire to advance my education any farther. I have no desire. I don't respect certifications and degrees and all that stuff like I once did. Especially now, knowing how it's just like, it's all club. Everything's, it's just. And colleges aren't even cost effective now, because you're paying too much for overhead and you're not getting enough education in return. I think that people, it's more important that people learn a trade. Young people learn how to do something, practical. Reading books. Just reading, I always thought that was weird. Like, that's what an education is when people read a bunch of words that other people say is true. And that becomes your truth? So it's like, okay, that's your truth. You agree with that, then sign off. You're certified. And then you got people, oh, okay, I know a guy I went to school with. I'll get him a job. We think the same. Clicks and clubs. Anyway. Hey, Ma. I got stuff. I think I'm going to try and make an apple pie.
Oh, you'll enjoy that.
I got stuff to make waffles and pancakes, too. We're going to have waffles or pancakes tomorrow. Or waffles and pancakes. Or Mom can decide, huh? Can we do a waffle-ake?
A what?
I don't know.
A waffle-ake?
A waffle-ake? A waffle pancake? A panoffle?
A panoffle.